Inside Sports Couple today. We're talking to Hahnville head coach, second-year head coach, Greg Boyne. How are you today, Coach?
Good. Thank y'all for having me.
Got that first year under your belt. I want to know this. What was the biggest? I didn't know that.
Probably the amount of pregame meals and day before the game meals and day of game lunches and how much food's involved with this. These kids can eat. These kids can eat.
They can eat, no doubt about it. Well, hey, a great year for your first season, well into the playoffs. Anything you want to share from last year?
It was a learning experience for myself, as well as I think, a little bit of a change. Y'all know Daniel was doing a lot of the same things that Destrehan had emphasized. So there was a lot of things in place. Really good group of seniors. They were hungry. They wanted to have success. They bought into everything. And then transitioning to this year, it's a different group. It's a group that, we played a lot of seniors and 10th graders last year. So it was a group that was kind of in between. Some played, some rotated in. So, kind of working with them and trying to teach them how to be a leader and the expectations of the staff. So it's been the same, but different at the same time.
Well, as you go into this season, you open up Friday night. Kind of give us a recap of what you're looking forward to, and then we'll let you talk about the players a little bit.
Right now, we pretty much focusing on the guys in purple and gold more than the opponent. We don't have a lot of film on Booker T. Washington going into week one. They played actually our week two opponent in the Jamboree. So when we only have maybe 28 clips from that. So it is what it is. So, we've been focusing on correcting our mistakes from the Jamboree, which we had a few on both sides of the ball. So, and the kids saw them on film. They saw the mistakes they made. They know it's pretty much all correctable. So this week we've done a lot of good on good going against, starters against starters, trying to sharpen up ourselves while still trying to work some of the things that we saw in film that Booker T. Washington does.
Well, great. Looking forward to seeing you all again. Tell us who's going to be the trigger guys.
Landon Teague is back at quarterback after a tremendous sophomore year. Occasionally you'll get a 10th grader that kind of gets it at that position and is ready mentally, maybe before they're ready physically. And that I think that's the biggest difference. He's up to 199 pounds. He's packed on some muscle. He's over 6 foot. He's got an accurate arm. He doesn't have a cannon, but he can make every throw. He understands the offense. He knows what we want to do. He's a leader. Last week before we've kind of been pushing him to be more vocal, and last week before the last series against St. James, we needed to stop, and I out of the corner of my eye, I saw him walk towards the defensive huddle, and he was right in the middle of the defensive huddle. So still a junior and still learning that part of we tell him all the time, look, you have the respect of the locker room. You have the respect of the staff. He was voted one of our captains, which is very rare for a junior. And, he's the guy.
Well, I know last year you had a senior-laden offensive line. How are you looking this year?
Pleasantly surprised with that group. It's a group that has played together through 2 years of junior varsity. It's a mix of juniors and seniors. Like you said, last year, all seniors, even the sixth guy that rotated in was a senior. So most of these guys didn't play except for the games we were up big in. So they got limited varsity experience, but you can kind of tell that they've played together, and there's a lot to be said for developing a JV group and a freshman group, especially at that position. And it shows. So that their learning curve has been pretty small, but they've handled it well. We've been, all the way back to Jesuit in the spring, Holy Cross scrimmage in the fall, and last week, some mistakes, which is understandable, but for the most part, they've gelled pretty well.
You want to call them out by name?
Oh my goodness, you can put me on the spot.
You don't have to.
Our two 11th graders, both the tackles are 11th graders, Jerron Miles and Kirk Bourgeois. And then our center is Lance Renata. He's a senior. The guards are Kenny Hebert, and we moved Frederick Downing, is now a two-way guy. He's a 6'4", 295-pound D lineman. He's still growing big down there, don't they? He's a big one, and he'll rotate on the offensive line and defensive line. So good size. 3 seniors, 2 juniors, and then we have a couple young sophomores that rotate in. So it's a good group, a good mix. They play well together. They get along together. They get on each other like a lot of offensive lines do. So they've come a long way since February, and they still have, now that the game reps. Now we find out what they can handle as far as going against somebody else.
Well, I know Downing's been outstanding for a while, and in the backfield and receivers.
Backfield, Fabian Celestine's our guy. He's coming off a tib-fib fracture, which is a major injury, as y'all know. Week 5 last year against HL, just kind of stopped, and he got hit and tried to make the tackler miss. And you could kind of one of those things where you could hear it on the sideline, both bones snapped. So he's had a long recovery since then. He's 100%. Dr. Haddad and his group did a fantastic job, our trainers. Last week, you kind of finally saw the mental part, the physical part. He's been cleared to run and to jump and cut. But last week, we've kind of progressed him slowly on purpose. But last week against St. James, middle of the second half, he broke a 40, 50-yard run for a touchdown, and he looked like himself. Then we have a few younger guys in the backfield, Leland Khalili, Trayshawn Fields, some guys that we have a kid, Jackson Porter, who's a 10th grader. He's a two-way guy also. He plays some linebacker and running back. So kind of by committee behind Fabian. And Fabian's, he's put on some size. While he was hurt, we made sure he was still eating and getting the protein. So he's 180, 185, which is, good size for a high school back. He's not as big as CJ, and he's a little different. He's more of a slasher. Wide receivers, it's, again, a good mix. There's a couple seniors. Bennett Knockan, who's a Southeastern commit, and Lance Marshall and Kavaya Singleton are the 3 seniors. We have Aaron Williams, who's a junior, Caden Brand, who's a junior, and a couple sophomores, Dwayne Cola and Gage Touchard. So it's a good mix, and they all, pretty much get reps on the varsity level. A couple of guys still play JV, but that's a group that's also come a long way, the receivers. I didn't think we played at the level that I wanted last year. So since January, they've pretty much been working hard on improving their skills. And we're happy with last week. The week before, we had a few drops. Last week, we only had 1 drop, and we blocked really well. So if we can keep that going offensively, I think we have a shot to be pretty good.
And then, championships are won on the other side. So tell us about your defense.
Yep. I think it starts with the defensive line. It's a group of guys that have been on the field, a lot of them for 2-3 years. Downing, of course, is still the anchor. And he'll play, in certain weeks he'll play more than others. E.D. White, he'll be on the field more than he may be against a Terrebonne. He's big, and he can stop the run in the middle. Daniel Banks is the other defensive tackle that's next to him. He's, again, 2-year starter, 3-year varsity guy. Our ends are Raymond Williams, who's a 2-year starter, and on the other side, Renan Russ, who's a junior, 2-year starter, started last year as a sophomore. So that group has been solid all the way back to when we started spring practice. Veteran group have very high expectations. Like you said, I think for us to be good, they're going to have to be good.
You set the bar high for yourself coming out of the gate with that strong season. So I want to know, compared to last year, the day before the season started, how are you feeling this year, the day before the season starts?
Dude, that's a good question. I mean, last year was a lot of unknown. You just don't know. There was a lot of, I think the kids weren't sure. We weren't sure what we were going to get. When we came back out in January with this group, they knew the expectation. There was no walking from drill to drill, and everybody was dressed the same. So they got the expectation part down. Then it was just a matter of raising the bar. I wasn't, I appreciate you saying it, but I wasn't happy with how things ended last season, and I don't think the kids were. I think we had a winnable home game in the second round. Hats off to Chalmette and Coach Tucker. They did a fantastic job. But you worked from January to November to get that game at home, and then to lose it and end up at the ball at the 4-yard line with a chance to win it.
Right.
It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and not just the coaches, but the players. So they attacked the offseason. So I think to answer the question, we're at a way different place right now than we were. I'd be very disappointed if we don't come out tomorrow firing on all cylinders on both sides, and including special teams. So mentally, I think is the biggest difference, and physically, we've put on some mass and some size and some muscle. So
Well, you got the good weight coach. I like that. We got lots of Destrehan guys over at Hahnville. Your linebackers and your defensive backs.
Linebackers, it's Carter Burns is the guy. Jackson Porter is the young guy. We have a few young guys, Leland Khalili that I mentioned with the running backs, Ty Summers. That's 3 sophomores playing with Carter Burns. But so he's the guy. He's grown 2 inches and put on 15, 20 pounds of muscle. Like he really
do.
What's that?
That's what teenagers do.
Good point. But we met with pretty much all the players individually, and he was one of the kids that kind of wanted to know, what do I have to do to improve my game? And last year he just missed, maybe 7, 8 tackles for loss and a couple sacks, just being a tad late. So he's faster. The defense is kind of built around him and the defensive line, and it gives the young guys, Michael Props, who's our H-back, who I didn't mention with the offense. He's also moved to linebacker, just trying to find the right combination. Coach Scoble's defense has a lot of movement, and you have to kind of know, each piece kind of has to know what the other ones are doing. So we're trying to find the right combination, and Carter gets it, and he kind of helps those young guys get it.
And then the backfield, who you got? The backs?
Defensive backfields is pretty set. We rotate 3 corners. We have a new kid out, Algernon Walker, who hasn't played since 9th grade, I believe. He's been solid at corner. Avante Smith played some last year. Raynell Gale played some last year. Down safety is I'm drawing a blank. Aaron Walker. I'm sorry. Aaron Walker is our down safety, who's experienced. He played last year as a 10th grader. Savion Weber and Drake Weber, who are actually brothers, kind of rotate at the other spot. And then our free safety is Braden Fontenot, who's extremely solid. Again, in Coach Scoble's scheme, the free safety is almost a linebacker. If he gets a run read, he's pretty much playing the run. And then the down safeties will rotate over. So he does an extremely good job. He had a really good jamboree, really good scrimmage. He played some as a 10th grader, and he's only a junior.
And Hahnville's always had great special teams skills guys. Who you got back there?
But Miles Borey is our kicker and punter. He's got, we tell him all the time, your leg is a weapon. Sometimes, like a lot of kickers, the mental part will come into play. He'll try little things in practice, and we're like, wow, you kicked the ball 8, 9 yards out of the end zone every time your foot hits the ball. Well, I just wanted to try. He's a kicker 100%, and he's the D1 guy. He's getting a lot of looks. Troy and and Southeast, and he when I say cannon, he's got his leg is maybe the purest talent that I've seen.
It's a nice sound when they hit it, huh?
No doubt. You can tell when the head turns when they make contact. No doubt about it.
Hahnville has been blessed with some good kickers.
Yeah, over the years. Yes. As we go look towards the season, I know the district play is not as important as it used to be, but of course it's still important to the players and to the coaching staffs, more to the players and the coaching staff. But
right.
How do you see the district again?
I honestly think, and someone asked me earlier this week, I honestly think the district from top to bottom is as strong as it's been in quite some time. I mean, there was a couple teams for years that you could just say, all right, that's a win, and no disrespect to those guys, but it's a credit to the coaches that are there now. I've been around the district for quite a while, so it's the coaching. H.L. Bourgeois gave us everything we could handle in the first round last year, and we everything went right when we played them in the regular season, and I think they'll be in the mix. I think Terrebonne, talent-wise, may be as good as Destrehan, and of course Destrehan's offensively still loaded. Defensively, they're kind of breaking in some new guys, but they'll have talent. They'll be well developed. Coach Taffy does a fantastic job in the weight room. They'll be well coached. Central Lafourche and Thibodaux, Central, Coach Vidros does a good job. We're much improved last year. Thibodaux, you kind of don't know because with Coach Narcisse taking over, probably a new scheme on both sides. But y'all know most of the time Thibodaux may have the best talent in the district if somebody can have some discipline and bring the program where it needs to get. So I honestly think we have a stretch week 3 and 4 where we play E.D. White and Terrebonne, and I think that's gonna let us know kind of, good measuring stick about, 4 games in where we stand after playing those 2 back-to-back.
But everybody has Halloween circled on the calendar, and
I don't know what you're talking about. Trick or treat.
Sure,
Trick or
you
treat. There's a game. I don't remember who we played. That's so far down the line.
I know. Don't look ahead. I know.
I'm giving out candy that night.
Go ahead. Okay.
That's
A lot less stressful. A lot less stressful than Jackson Fields and Jabari Mack giving out candy in the driveway.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. Anything else you want to tell the Hahnville faithful right now?
No, hey, we got good weather this week, so come on out, and it looks like next week as well. Finally.
Nobody's watching the Weather Channel.
The weather looks
Corey's
great.
excited because the Weather Channel's not on in our house.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Nice, sir. All right, Greg, thank you so much.
All right, no problem. Thanks again.
Good luck. Have a great year.
I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.